everyone, my name is Dorothy Vance. I want to give a quick background about myself. I did my undergrad at Missouri State University, so go Bears. I got my degree in socio-political communication with a certificate in conflict and dispute resolution. I currently am a grad student at Ball State University. I'm actually in the grad office right now. I'm getting a degree in organizational and professional communication in good old Muncie, Indiana. With my grad program, I am also doing an assistantship. So what that means is I'm teaching 2 sections of public speaking on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I'm also an ABCD, which stands for Assistant Basic Course Director. So in that role, I'm helping other grad students fulfill their needs as grad students with public speaking. If they have questions about grades, about the content, the course material, I'm someone that they go to get help. Also, this semester I have a part-time job. I work with a company called MISO. They are an electric company. People consider them the air traffic controllers of electricity for the Midwest. I work in their standards and assurance department, which is it's like a breakaway department from their communication department. But I had the opportunity in the summer to intern for them, and now I'm working part-time. And then hopefully in May I'll be boarded on as full-time, depending on what I want to do. So that's a quick summary about who I am. If you have any questions about what I kind of explained, feel free to reach out to me. But I'm going to jump into some of the questions that Dr. Spates has asked. So looking back, what advice do I have for others in the comm department who want to use that as a degree? So I would say make sure that you understand what communication means to you, so what skill set that represents, whether that be you're someone who really likes to research, you really like teaching, you really like public speaking, you're really into nonverbals, you name it, just understand what this means to you. And then how can you pitch that to an organization that you work for? So something that helps me in interviews or whenever I'm applying for a job is I research about that company. So I look at the company culture, I look at what they represent, what type of things they do with employees, their benefits. So I want to look all into that so I can understand if my degree really can transfer over. So for example, with MISO, an electric company, comm degree electric company, I was very concerned at first about why would I apply for an internship for this? However, once I looked at their company culture and the position in standards and assurance, I noticed that the company value had collaboration in it, and it was really big about cross-communicating with different groups in the organization, and one of my roles has been to make sure that the communication can be effective through these different departments, and that really spoke to me. So I guess making sure you have a high-level overview of who you are and how that can transition to whatever position you're looking at. So moving on, so which communication processes have helped you be successful in my career? So a big thing is public speaking. I teach public speaking along with my internship, now part-time job. I do a lot of public speaking. It's not necessarily me in front of a large audience, but it could be me leading company meetings, creating agendas, hosting things, especially in grad classes. We have like discussion sessions where I'm a discussion leader. So I just need to be the expert on my material and be really confident and be able to deliver that to a group of people. So that's been something that with Missouri State and Ball State University, I have had the experience to be able to give a lot of speeches in front of people. Another thing is research. So I remember at Missouri State, I had to take a research methods class, and I was very overwhelmed at first because you kind of look at qualitative research, quantitative. I also took a rhetoric class at Missouri State, and that kind of went over my head at first. Don't worry if you're in that boat. It takes time and practice. When I came to grad school, I actually have to take specific, like a qualitative research methods class, a quantitative research methods class, and same with a rhetoric. And I learned that quantitative research is something that I'm really interested in. Actually, for the organization I work part-time with, they're also really interested in that aspect about me. So understanding how to use Qualtrics has been really beneficial to getting this internship, part-time, you name it. But that has helped me secure that, having that skill set. So if you're interested in those type of things, definitely look into it. I think research is a really great way for organizations to pick you up. And then lastly, writing. So something in communication is we're really good about not just oral citations, oral speaking, but along with written communication. So showing that skill set that you can write essays, you know how to be effective, you can be really specific in what you want to communicate, whether that be technical writing, creative writing, PR writing. You have a wide skill set, and definitely display that to them because that's something that they also are really interested in. So moving on to interview process. So actually for MISO, they asked me STAR questions, and this was something new to me out the gate. I was in grad school. I remember it was over the phone at first, and then it was over WebEx. But a STAR interview question is something that's going to ask a situational question, a task question, an action question, and a result question. And so what that looks like is, I remember they gave me a situation, and they said that a new bill was going to be released at my college. How would I communicate that to college students? And I remember at first I heard the question and I was like, wow, this is a really hypothetical here. I'm usually used to like, what are your strengths? But it really made me think about some of my communication knowledge and how I could apply it to the job. So I talked about, again, audience analysis. I talked about writing skills, maybe even research I could have thrown in. But they ask a lot of like specific situational questions like that, just to see if you can apply what you learned to what you're actually going to be doing. Along with that, I can send a link with Dr. Spates about this type of interview question. I think a lot of organizations where I'm at in Indiana ask a lot of these, and I was not used to it at first. I think it's something that once you look at and you practice, you can get really good at it. So I can send that link with Dr. Spates as well, and he can share that with you. But yeah. So if you're considering interning, I would highly encourage it. I wish I would have interned in my undergrad. However, I was pretty busy. I did an internship with the Conflict and Dispute Resolution Center. However, I wish I would have done more with that. Again, I did have the opportunity at grad school to do an internship, which I'm very thankful for because now I have a part-time job, and it's one of the best organizations I've ever worked with. And in the spring, hopefully I'll have a full-time job, which, fingers crossed, that kind of looks like what that is. So I would highly encourage that you do an internship if you have the chance, whether that be in the summer, in the fall or spring. I would definitely look at any opportunities you can because it just is a great way to see what you want to do when you graduate. And then, what are 3 tips for current students to be successful? I would say the first one is to consider what you want to do when you leave your undergrad. So as a first-generation college student, I have lived, breathed, I was in school the whole run. I remember I didn't think college was a thing, and then I came here to college and I was like, wow, this is the best experience I've ever had. I'm not ready to leave it, so then I chose to go to grad school. If you're someone who's considering or looking into grad school, you can definitely reach out to me because I was the first in my family to go to grad school. It's something that may seem overwhelming, but I promise you it's doable, especially if grad schools pay for you to come here. Ball State University is great, but if you have any further questions about that, please reach out to me and I'll provide my contact information with Dr. Spates. But I would highly encourage you to look at that. Or if you're someone who does want to go on for a job, I would look at upping your LinkedIn profile, look for recruiters that are on there, talking to your advisor about when to start applying for jobs, maybe what you're looking for, maybe an internship that turns into a job. So just be on the mindset like, what are you going to do in a couple months? And again, I didn't start applying for grad school until my senior year, first semester. I thought about it junior year, but I didn't start applying till senior year, so it's never too late to apply or do whatever. The next thing I would encourage is to network. Something I learned through my internship actually is the power of networking. So putting yourself out there to talk to new people and listen to their stories. I think the reason I became part-time with my company is because I took advantage of the networking opportunities. So I just reached out and had like coffee sessions or sessions where I could get to know executives in the company, which allowed, whenever it was time to consider me for part-time, my director was like, oh, so-and-so said your name, so-and-so also said your name. You have a lot of connections on LinkedIn with our company. You have immersed yourself into it. We would love to hire you on. something I also learned in corporate America is I feel like there's a lot of internal hiring. So if someone knows someone, they're going to hire them first before they hire someone who's random. So that's why it's also extremely important to put yourself out there to get to know people on a different level, so then they can think of your name if a job position does open up. And then the last thing I would just suggest, or a tip, is just to recognize that everyone has their own progression. So something I learned in grad school is the imposter syndrome. So when I first came to grad school, I thought it was a fluke that I got in. Again, as a first-generational college student, I thought maybe they just pitied me almost, and that's why I got in. And I would compare myself to other classmates, and I'd be like, wow, they really understand quantitative research. However, they have their own stuff that they're dealing with as well, and comparison can truly be a thief of joy. So I would highly encourage you to just recognize that people progress at different rates. And so if you graduate, you get a corporate job or whatever job, and you realize you want to go back to grad school, do it. Or maybe if you go to grad school and you realize first semester that it's not for you actually, and you'd rather not, that's okay too. Life is, we can change at any moment. I think we know that with COVID. So just making sure that you're aware it's okay to be adaptable and that things can change and you're never stuck. And not to compare yourself, because that can be a thief of joy, like I said earlier. But that's a little bit about some tips and tricks and some ideas that I wanted to share with you all. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Again, I am going through the process right now, so if you want to LinkedIn connect with me, that's totally cool too. I'd love to set up a coffee meeting and we can chat about your future, about any advice, or just about the universe. But I hope y'all have a great semester. Dr. Spates is the best instructor I've ever had. He is one of the main reasons I felt confident enough to apply to grad school, so definitely take everything he says, take it in, and marinate on it, because he has some great knowledge. Okay, thanks.